I'm pretty sure everyone had that one game that introduced them to gaming and became a part of their identity to a certain extent because of how it has been present throughout their childhood and perhaps maybe even accompanied them as they grew up. And for me, that game was, well, at least one of those games were Counter-Strike and the franchise. And I say one of those games because, of course, not everyone just points to one game as their first. Some have multiple. I personally have about 2 to 3 that I can think of off the top of my head right now. But all in all, I think for me, mostly it has been Counter-Strike and the competitive shooter genre as a whole. I started playing Counter-Strike in 1.6, but I have to add an asterisk to that because my 1.6 experience has not been that lengthy compared to the other titles, and it will be quite apparent if you are watching this video because you can see that I'm not really that used to buying stuff with the numbers. I still use my mouse here and there. I did try to get used to it, but it's not how I would naturally navigate the buy menu because the bulk of my hours were in CSGO, and over there you had the buy menu wheel, which made it really intuitive to just swing your mouse around to get what you want. And also, did I point out how long the flashes lasted in this game? If you're watching this video, you probably saw that moment where I got flashed, and I swear I could have gone downstairs, cooked up a meal, and went back up, and I would still be flashed. It's crazy. But anyways, this video today is, I guess, a way for me to jog your memory, perhaps, and try and see which one of you either had the same origins as me, or if you had different ones, and I'd love to know what they are. You can tell me in the comments. But with Counter-Strike, I started with 1.6, and I remember the first time of me playing it was in school, and we basically had like our laptops in school, in elementary school. I forgot for whatever reason. I think they were switching up the curriculums and they wanted to try online learning. It was way ahead of their time, so it ended up falling out and we didn't bring laptops anymore. But during the short period of time when we did, I saw one of my friends playing Counter-Strike 1.6, and it was completely new to me, but all I knew was that there were guns and it looked cool. I was just your typical fat boy in elementary school who liked guns and monsters and whatnot. So I figured I'd just, holler over and asked him what this game was. And once he introduced it to me, I was like, yo, like, can you get this on my laptop? Am I able to install it somehow? And he tinkered with it here and there. I forgot if he installed it for me or if he transferred the file over a flash disk. I completely forgot. It was so long ago. But anyway, I finally got the game, and we played multiplayer against each other in the classroom. And I would remember, me getting so frustrated because I would keep dying to him because, of course, I was still new to the game and he was basically a veteran at that point. I think he had like an older brother who was really into gaming. Like he had his own gaming PC at home and whatnot, and so I guess his older brother kind of coached him through. And I would get so frustrated that I remember like we were sneaking some matches here and there when during class, and I remember hitting the table so hard that I ended up exposing myself, and the teacher confiscated my laptop as a result. It was crazy. And then fast forward to middle school, I'd say, is when middle school was when I first played CSGO, and that would be probably the longest stretch of Counter-Strike gameplay. I kind of skipped Source. I tried a little bit on my friend's laptop, but I didn't get it for myself. Of course, looking at Source compared to 1.6, I thought, whoa, this graphics update is crazy. But then I realized that he bought the game and I didn't have enough money to do so, so I just skipped it. And once I got some pocket money in middle school, I saved up, got a Steam gift card from the local convenience store, and just bought CSGO. And I kind of saw CSGO from my cousin. It was very similar to what happened to me with 1.6, seeing other people play. So I had this cousin. He wasn't necessarily like super into gaming, but one day I saw him playing what looked like CS, because of course I wasn't aware that they had released CSGO at that point. And I saw that the game had AKs, the map was similar, but the visual fidelity was that much better. And I sort of just asked him, oh, and by the way, he was playing on a MacBook, believe it or not. He was playing on a MacBook, which I didn't even thought was possible back then. And once I saw that, I had to get it for myself. So I ended up, saving my pocket money, getting the game, and then I invited a couple of my other friends in middle school to play along. So a couple of them installed the game, and we ended up, forming a party, and we went along with that pre-made party and just played competitive ranked every night. We would grind even though we would be stuck at silver or gold nova. And it was a really fun time. We sort of played for fun mostly, but at some point I remember, I guess, me separating myself from the group because of, it was a bit of an ego move, but I was just curious as to like how far I could get by just grinding myself solo. Because of course, in a pre-made party, if everyone's just playing for fun, then improvement's not going to be the main goal. So I ended up, grinding, and I eventually got as far as Legendary Eagle Master, I think. And then at that point, I just quit the game because I was too lazy to play Face It, and every single matchmaking server I got into was riddled with bots and cheaters at that rank, so I just couldn't get a nice game in. So I ended up just, pivoting and trying other games within the same genre still. And if you're wondering why the gameplay is kind of subpar, it's, well, first of all, I'm washed. I haven't played competitive shooters in a long time, but I'm not making excuses for myself, okay? I'm not trying to make excuses for myself. I am not really familiar with the mechanics of 1.6 since I've played it the least from out of all the titles, but that is neither here nor there. That's not the focus of this video, and I was just trying to gauge what you guys had in mind when it comes to where your origins lied, and maybe some of you had the same sort of, I guess, trajectory when it comes to your gaming history. But, aside from CS, I also had other, I guess, early memories of childhood games like Minecraft and whatnot. But I would say CS was the majority of my gaming hours, because I think combined, I had like 4,000 or 5,000 hours across different titles, and 80% of those hours were in CSGO. But yeah, and right, I was playing in a community server in this in the gameplay you see here, and I wasn't sure which one I could join, so I just tried clicking into a couple and seeing which one made sense. I was looking for like a free-for-all deathmatch server, just for, an easier way to capture gameplay, but I ended up just joining a pub. So I thought, you know what, alright, because the other deathmatches were too high in ping because it was just in another region. So yeah, I would love to hear your origins and how you started gaming, and which game was probably, I guess, important to you throughout your childhood and your growing years. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video and you made it to the end, I appreciate you watching. Thank you, and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this type of content, and I'll see you next time.